solving a two-step linear inequality with a fractional coefficient. So as before in some of my other videos on inequalities, I'm going to be doing a little bit extra than what Alex asks for, so that's explained over here in this little note. But this is really no different than any of the things that you've done with equations. The only thing that we really have to look out for is if we need to multiply or divide both sides of the inequality by a negative number, then we need to flip the direction of the inequality. So looking at the inequality, negative 2/9 y plus 17 greater than 9. We want to get this negative 2/9 y all by itself, which means we need to take care of this 17. To take care of it, we're going to subtract it off both sides, which cancels it out. We have negative 2/9 y greater than negative 8. Now we need to get rid of the negative 2/9 in front of the y. In order to do that, we need to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of negative 2/9. That is the fraction but flipped upside down. That would be 9 over negative 2. When we do that, the direction of the inequality has to be flipped because we're multiplying both sides by a negative number. The nice thing is these negative 2's cancel, these 9's cancel, and you just have a y left. On the other side, you have 8 times 9 over negative 2. You could use a calculator for that, or you could simplify it by hand. It should come out to be 36. Y is less than 36. This is the answer that Alex is going to want. But let's go ahead and do a number line and an interval notation answer to practice that. So I'm going to put 36 here. Remember, if you have an underline on your inequality, that's going to be a closed circle on your number line, and brackets in interval notation. If there's no underline on your inequality, there'll be an open circle on the number line, and parentheses in interval notation. So we didn't have an underline, so this will be an open circle. It says y is less than 36, so that's going to be shading the less than side, which is the left side. In interval notation, we're going to read off the shaded part, so it starts at negative infinity. Infinities will always get the parentheses, and it goes all the way up to 36, and 36 gets a parenthesis because of the open circle, and that's my interval notation answer. All right, let's do another. Here we have 1/5 v plus 1 is less than or equal to 9. Once again, we're looking at getting this 1/5 v by itself, so we need to take care of the plus 1. We'll go ahead and subtract 1 on both sides to cancel the 1. The 1/5 v will come down. The direction of the inequality comes down. And don't forget to bring this down. Don't make it into an equal sign. It's really important which way it's pointing. It's really important that you bring it down on every step. All right, so now we have 1/5 v is less than or equal to 8. To get rid of this 1/5, we want to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 1/5. So if you flip 1/5 upside down, you get 5 over 1. And we want to multiply by 5 over 1 on both sides. That would cancel those 5's out, and you could kind of think about it as canceling the 1's out if that makes you happy. You're still left with a v. We multiplied by a positive number, so we're not going to flip the direction of our inequality. And then 8 times 5 over 1 is going to be 40 over 1, which is just 40. So this would be the answer that Alex would be looking for. I am going to do a number line. I'm putting 40 here. We do have an underline in our inequality, so I'm going to do a closed circle. Then the less than direction is to the left, so we're shading everything less than 40. Our interval notation, the shading starts at negative infinity and it goes all the way up to 40. Since 40 has a closed circle, he'll get a bracket, but our infinities will always get parentheses. So that right there is our interval notation answer. Let's do one more for good measure. So 3 is greater than or equal to negative 7 minus 4/5 w. So I want to get this negative 4/5 w by itself. which means I want to take care of this negative 7 to begin with. To get rid of a negative 7, we're adding 7 to both sides. Those will cancel. 3 plus 7 is 10. Greater than or equal to, the negative 4/5 will come down. The negative 4/5 W, that is, will come down. Now we're looking at getting rid of this coefficient on W. So we want to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of negative 4/5. The reciprocal of negative 4/5 would be 5 over negative 4. When you do this, these negative 4's cancel, these 5's cancel, and that's all great. But because we multiplied by a negative number, we do need to flip our inequality. Oops. Let's make that a little neater. All right, so we flip that direction. On the other side, we have 5 over negative 4 times 10. That's going to be 50 over negative 4, which is going to be negative 25 over 2, which you could use a calculator to simplify. I just went ahead and did that one in my head. The W comes down, so now we have negative 25 over 2 is less than or equal to W. Because you're going to be doing these in interval notation and on the number line on the test, I do suggest that you write this a little different. You really want that W to be on the left-hand side. So you still have a W and you'll still have a negative 25 over 2. But notice here, it's pointing towards the negative 25 over 2. When you rewrite it, you still want it to be pointing towards the same thing. So it was pointing towards negative 25 over 2. It should still point to negative 25 over 2. So W is greater than negative 25 over 2. That would be the answer Alex wants. On a number line, plotting negative 25 over 2, it's a closed circle because there's an underline on our inequality. And then it's greater than, so this is the greater than direction. To write our interval notation, we're starting at negative 25 over 2, and we're going off to infinity. And once again, the infinities will always get a parenthesis on them. And that's our interval notation answer. So you got these, keep on working on them, and I'll see you in the next video.